Good morning, SMF Street Traders. We're going to be looking at RIMM. RIMM's going to report earnings on September 16th. The options expiration ends on the 17th. And this is a multi-monthly bear move on a monthly chart. Now, when monthly crossovers occur, like way back over here, you crossed over the 10-month. You also crossed over the 50-month. And as I have taught the SMF Street Traders about mathematical equations using monthly moving averages, yearly, weekly, and daily, and even minute period, is that when this started over here, yeah, sure, when this starts here, when the 20-month crosses over that 10-month and that 50-month, even though that you had that 2-month pop, why did I always say over here that we were building big shorts for long-term out is that it would fail miserably, and it did. Then the 10-month crosses over the blue line. That's the 50-month. And then more weaknesses come in the name. Now you've got a 10-month crossing over a 20-month and a 100-month simple moving average down here. This is half of the bar. So any up move is that resistance there. Now, granted that RIMM has a very competitive environment with the Android app, with the iPhone, with the new Sprint G4 network, and AT&T, and a lot of other people. And that the leader, as the great company that RIMM was, with its great innovation as it had, was great innovation. They were the leader back over here. We used to trade RIMM when it started over here back in 2003. And as they did well, they were the leaders all the way right up here to these tops of let's just call it $148 a share. And basically since then, the environment and the competition has overwhelmed RIMM. And RIMM has always been a company of choice. Governments around the world have used the BlackBerry. However, as we've said, way back in 2008 when we were shorting it during earnings season over here and we got the pop, the most important thing is we're going to be looking at the options expiration. The other thing is that RIMM is a potential buyout for Microsoft and other players, because the lower that the price goes in RIMM, the more attractive that their network is buyable. And when I used to tell people that their network was a closed network and that the industry was going to go to an open source content versus a closed network, that would be the doomsday for RIMM. And it is. So, it's what we're going to take a look at, SMF Street, is that we're at 15.91%. We are getting oversold going into this earnings report. So what we're going to talk about in the next video is a volatility options trade for this particular earnings getting priced in. Potentially we're at 15.91%. It's about as bearish of a chart as you're going to see on a monthly level out there in the technology area, because the line right here, this colored line right here, the yellow line is a 100-month moving average. I will tell you, we came down, we've hit it, and this is a September bar, monthly bar right there. A close below that will take out many more stop market orders. So the actual price on RIMM closed at 44.12 as of Friday. So I'm going to go to the weekly chart just to show you what a weekly chart looks like. Let me find that weekly chart. We're going to take a look at a weekly chart because you can see that everything that you've been taught about learning when to sell short a stock, when to buy put options, is the power, the mathematical equation in these weekly moving averages or any time frame. Clearly, as they've all crossed over right here, is when the greatest shorting opportunity for long term would happen. And the 10-week is at, that's the blue line. But all of them have crossed over. If that 50-week crosses over the 100, the 20-week has crossed over everything, and it all started over here. And yes, you had nothing go straight down, but when they bounce back up here, and once again, let's illustrate half of the weekly bar. That's the SMF mathematical bar. And when you couldn't close, even though you had a counter trend on a 4-week basis, you still made lower lows because our trend analysis indicator versus strong, medium, and weak. What happens is that these dead cat bounces roll over all the time in trend cycles, as USMF street traders have learned. Outside of that day trading model, which doesn't seem to get most people anywhere, that's why you're all here. And basically, on a weekly level, we're getting down to oversold areas on RIMM. The key is that there could be some potential surprises, is that RIMM's earnings could reflect the oversold condition, where even if the earnings are flat to slightly down, is because it is getting extremely oversold on this weekly percent DS, but could go lower, is that where we're going to be looking at how they get priced in. It's about as bearish as you can get. There's still the 2009 cycle right here. Let's highlight this part of the chart. That's at $36 a share. That's ultimately the lower end of that support. The breakout of the weekly right here is 41.47, which is about $3 lower. Now, if they guide down and they miss the quarter, they're going to go lower. Okay? They're going to talk about the competition on September 16th during the options expiration. In the next video is that we're going to look at the contrarian view of these earnings, and RIMM is a ripe candidate for a buyout because we've had a lot of M&A activity. But is RIMM a buyout at $44 a share, or rather does the stock come down low enough to $25 or $30 a share and then an offer somewhere around that $40 mark, meaning that they've had a lot of challenges with their closed network in other companies other countries, India, and they're over there in China, but people have been focusing to the Android and the Apple iPhone, and they've been taking market share away from RIMM. And as we said 2-3 years ago, that it's possible that RIMM becomes a technology that is still good, that could be used. However, it can become obsolete, like in lots of different tech companies over the last 15-20 years. Some of them end up being nothing. Like Palm had to get bought out. And RIMM, is RIMM going to be a potential Palm? It's very likely that it could, as we have said many years ago. So I'm going to conclude the tape. It's very bearish. We're going to take a look at the oversold condition where RIMM could get a pop. We're going to take a look at the expiration. We're going to take a look at way up and out of the money volatility trade, just in case Microsoft would like to take a run at RIMM on a potential buyout. Does Microsoft want to get in the space of the smartphone? Well, when Bill Gates was around back in 2006, 2005, he was talking about how he's going to put RIMM out of business. Well, RIMM is definitely going in that direction at the moment, but where is Microsoft and their conviction about the smartphone industry? Look at what Google has done. Google has taken market share away from the iPhone app. It's the #1. And we had talked about that several months ago. So in the next video tape, bearish weekly chart. Once again, monthly chart, very bearish at the 100-month. A break below there. We go a lot lower down to that 35 handle, which is $7 below the market. Yes, we have a monthly MACD sell signal, and it's minus 5.5. That means that in your SMF platform, that means any up move will still be weak and sold short into any strength whatsoever.